Hey, what's up guys, it's Mark Yoon, and today I'm bringing another hopefully exciting video. So continuing with our lore series, we have today the original wielder of Soul Edge himself. We are talking about Cervantes de Leon. Obviously from Valencia, and we are known that he is the father of Ivy. So let's talk about this ghost pirate, or at least how he was perceived in the past, but we are only going to be covering his new timeline, as that is the only new canonized version of the story. And we're not sure where it's exactly going to go, but we're going to talk about the Acheron and Nirvana user in such a way that people have a better baseline understanding of his character moving forward, especially if SOULCALIBUR 6 is their first iteration of the series they've played. Now his biography as follows. Soul Edge was clawed back from the depths of history by a great pirate, Captain Cervantes, who used it to usher in a reign of carnage around him and manipulated his mind. Then for 20 years the sword lay dormant. It desired to be strong as it had once been, but its plans were thwarted by the ninja and the warrior. When Cervantes was defeated, he was consumed by the fires of hell, and his body turned to ash. One day, the new owner of the sword, Nightmare, came to investigate Cervantes' course, but left without noticing the small glimmer of light emanating from the body. The cursed sword once again set the terrible wheels of fate moving. The great pirate Cervantes was able to revive himself. However, because he had experienced death once before, he needed souls to maintain his body and increase his strength. Killing strong warriors and steadily restoring his memory, he set his sights on his next goal, reviving Soul Edge, only this time so that it obeyed him rather than the other way around. Gathering the sword's fragments, he knew, was a means by which he could accomplish this. Someday he would hunt down Ivy, his own daughter whose life he had once spared, and then consume her soul for himself. First, however, he would wait for her soul to ripen until it was overflowing with unbridled power. In Libra of Soul, sometime before the Conduit had their final battle with Aswell, Cervantes was on a massacre spree in Italy when he was confronted by the Conduit himself. He fought them for their soul, but stopped when he considered their soul was not ripe enough and left them. After their victory over Aswell, Cervantes ambushed the Conduit to obtain their ripened soul, but once again he spared them to have them get even stronger later on. After his resurrection, Cervantes lacked any memories of his past, though he started regaining them at the same time when he began attacking his own former crew member, which awakened his sadistic bloodlust and revenge. Realizing that he could regain his memories by killing people and absorbing their souls, he embarked on a killing spree, including taking on his daughter's soul at the most part, becoming obsessed with reclaiming Soul Edge, yet realizing that if he did, he would be enslaved by it once again. Cervantes decided to bide his time until he had become strong enough to dominate Soul Edge with his own will and become its master once more. When Cervantes first gripped Soul Edge, the power of the cursed sword transformed him into a monster. Even now, the sword's bloody memory flicks through his mind and can tap into them to control the vast energies within him. His brutal attacks with his two blades leave little room for his opponent to counter, and should they be knocked off balance, he will strike like a viper with supernatural strength. This merciless fighting style was developed during a time under the sway of the cursed sword, where he pillaged and slaughtered without prejudice. After his resurrection, he further improved his skills, and now Cervantes walks grinning through the sea of corpses, claiming countless souls wherever he goes. His final aim is to once again seize Soul Edge for his own. Now, Cervantes is, what people don't know, is my first main. Obviously, it's mainly because of his fighting abilities that I liked in the past. I really like his flying. I like how he has a lot of aerial attacks. You gotta love that gun's power, especially how quick it can be used if prepared properly. Like at close range, that thing's like intense. I like the fact that he fights dual-handedly with like two blades, but more importantly, I think that the lore around the character is one of the most interesting, and this new lore is no different. The fact that he has actual ties to people in the story himself, being the original villain, such as Ivy, his own daughter, and that we think that he's still probably manipulated and being manipulated by the energies of Soul Edge himself. It's proven to say that he's not at his full capacities yet. He hasn't regained his full memories. He's on a journey to do such, but I think once he actually does get there, he's going to realize what happened to him. I think he's going to turn against Soul Edge because he's going to be upset that he was manipulated by it in the first place, and maybe even take possession of Soul Edge to battle it. Little do we know outside of that, those energies and souls are the same things that are keeping him afloat, understandably. I mean, this is obviously a guess, but the fact that he was already soundly defeated and his body resurrected due to the energies of Soul Edge, we have to assume that once Soul Edge is destroyed, he'll either become reborn as something else, or he will fade away just like as easily as he was resurrected in the first place. Now, it's kind of suspicious to me that Nightmare wouldn't recognize the energies of SOULCALIBUR within the vessel himself, just leaving him to his own laurels and assuming that his corpse is just that. But maybe this is all part of Soul Edge's plan to gather and amass an abundance of characters, I want to say, that he can manipulate and twist their desires to their own ends in order to finally stop SOULCALIBUR once and for all. The sword's definitely not dumb. Of all the people that have been slain by it and all the personalities absorbed by it, it seems to change over time into almost like an anthropomorphic version of itself, where it seems more human than it does energy or that it does chaos. It has clear goals and specific desires and wants. It knows what it wants in a host. It knows what role those hosts are going to play. It seems even after it is finished with them in the first place, at least in the interim, where people assume that they are finished with them. We have Soul Edge fragments everywhere that can be turned on a dime. We have Kilik that is absorbed by, possessed by the energies. We have the shard that is close to Sophitia's heart. We have the former wielder of the sword, Cervantes, as we're talking about in this video, himself. We have all of the cursed that have been touched by the sword in some way. This may lead down a path where everybody is kind of in all-out war against each other with Soul Edge and SOULCALIBUR, and I'm not sure how many of those people are actually going to be consciously minded. Maybe that's the role that Cervantes is leaning to play, because unlike everyone else who's possessed by Soul Edge and is losing themselves over time, it seems he's reclaiming himself over time. And I think he is obviously still a pretty bad dude, being that he was a pirate before, but who knows if, like, he gets possessed by SOULCALIBUR if he is influenced in some way to be reborn as somebody who wants to just solely defeat Soul Edge. There's a lot that's left up to speculation and a lot of what if that can be derived from that. But he is one awesome character. I'm glad he's still in the franchise, and even though he's a ghost of his former self, quite literally, I think that his inclusion in the franchise, especially within a new lore, to be changed to be deceased and still trying to fight on, is more of an allegory for the Soul Edge and Soul Sword themselves. We have this centuries-long battle that has long since ended and long since had a conclusion, and they're both like using the unbridled husks of former slaves and former people that they themselves manipulated into combat to move them like chess pieces and pawn pieces once again to try and rekindle this ancient battle that's always been fought. And I'm not sure exactly like what role everyone is going to play in that. We have a lot of speculative videos coming up, especially with like the What If series and the Malfested series, but I think that he might play one of the larger roles in that, because I think Nightmare is too selfish and too focused in order to lead the army for Soul Edge, and his goal is to reclaim Soul Edge, so we'll see what happens with that. Maybe in trying to perfect it, he's going to try and attempt to consume Sophitia's soul, probably pushing Cassandra over the edge, maybe allowing that vision and that visage of her going crazy to become Malfested. Whether she can control or like Grow or Kilik is yet to be seen, but we don't even know if Grow and Kilik can control those energies. Even the Conduit himself, that's all left in the air. These are the beginning seeds of the story that are wanting to be told, as opposed to clear evidentiary plot lines that are leading towards an ultimate conclusion. But with that being said, guys, I want to hear your thoughts in the comment section down below. What role do you think Cervantes de Leon is going to play in the future? Do you like the new lore? Do you like the changes to his character, subtle as they may be? And any and all thoughts are always welcome. And as always, guys, thank you, and thank you. Hey, what's up, guys? Have you always wanted some sweet Mark Yoon merch? Maybe a thick U shirt, maybe a shirt from Squirt, maybe my pretty face with my logo all over your body, or a throw pillow, or blanket, or anything? Well, you're in luck, because I just launched my merch store, and it is going to be available on Redbubble, and you will find a link to it in my description box down below. It's got a lot of quality content, and a lot of good stuff for you to pick up, so you can show your support for the channel and just rep Mark Yoon. Alright guys, as always, thank you.